Hello to you. I'm Karen from Sensory Solutions, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about herbs that affect the nervous system. So tonight I'm a little bit jittery, I'm about to go out, and I've eaten a little bit of dark chocolate. And that's one of the strongest herbs that affects my nervous system that I take. And it affects me by stimulating everything and giving me loads of energy. I can't drink caffeine in coffee or tea, because if I drink that I get incredibly jittery and I get butterflies in my stomach, because I personally have a very sensitive nervous system, and it doesn't take much for me to go over and get, as I said, jittery and nervy symptoms and then have problems sleeping. And your nervous system can, if it's not healthy and strong, it can lead to all kinds of other problems. Fiona and I talk about the digestive system being the roots, and having a really good digestive system is your earth and your nourishment and your roots. And your nervous system is your air. That's the way we think in sensory herbcraft, in an elemental way. And when your air's off balance, it's having too much, anything can go wrong. One of the most famous herbs that most people know is chamomile, and it smells lovely. And chamomile flowers are completely different from buying chamomile tea bags. Making a nice brew of chamomile flowers and letting it steep is giving you a really nice medicinal dose. We always think of tea bags as factory floor sweepings, really. And chamomile grows really well in this country. All of these plants are from the garden or from the village. Chamomile's safe as well, so from tiny little babies and children that have things like teething problems, colic, indigestion, stressy, not being able to sleep, you can start by giving them chamomile. And it's the first herb that I gave my children. Chamomile's also a mild bitter, which affects your digestive system. And one of the first things we notice when our nerves go off kilter is that our digestion suffers. Often when people get anxious or nervous, they get diarrhoea or they get constipated. Things either just go and loosen out, or everything tenses up and you get stagnant. So chamomile is always my number one choice. Some people are sensitive to this plant family, the Asteraceae family. So it's important to monitor how people do, and a lot of people also don't think they like chamomile. And what I do with that, I normally try and mix it with another flavour of herb, because just to let them try, because chamomile flowers are so different, as I said, from the tea. Another lovely nervine plant is Tilia, or Linden, or lime flowers. And this gorgeous blossom is ready to harvest in midsummer. And when the tree is in bloom, it just smells divine. It's like honey. And they're very sticky, the blossoms, and the tree gets completely covered in bugs, insects crawling all over it. And when you harvest this, you do find, it's summer, so I'm normally in a vest top, and I find myself covered in these creepy crawly creatures. They're often those really lime green insects that are the same colour as these blooms, but it never bothers me because I'm so calm and relaxed from the scent and working with the Tilia. And they were planted on all village greens, so most village greens in Britain have a lime flower tree. They also famously line the drives to stately homes. And they were planted on village greens, and courts were held under them, disputes. So people gathered together when they had a dispute, and it was heard under the lime blossom, very cleverly, because it makes everyone feel very relaxed. And this one is particularly good if people have heart involvement. So when people have high blood pressure that goes along with their anxiety and nervous tension, the lime is it's a delicious tea as well. It's quite addictive. It's just like honey. Now I've got primula. Lovely little cowslips, and these line my front garden, and they're very prolific. You just divide them at this time of year, actually, just before. We're in the winter now, and I've just divided a load of plants and put them along the borders. And these are a very relaxing nervine. So as soon as I have a little sip of these, I feel completely relaxed, and it's a really nice thing to harvest too. Beautiful, beautiful, lovely little golden flowers. See if you can have a look into there. And when you put them into tea, they just rehydrate and open up. St John's wort. I've talked about St John's wort before, or hypericum as an antiviral, but hypericum is primarily a fabulous nervine herb. Any kind of nervous problem. We've talked about viruses like shingles, and shingles live along the dermatomes, they live in the nerves. The herpes virus we've talked about that lives within the nerve as tissue as well. But any kind of nervous illness, any kind of neuropathy, hypericum is my number one choice when you're thinking about wanting to rebuild damaged nervous tissue. This is something that up until recently the orthodox medical community haven't believed is possible. Once you have damaged nerves, they believe that they cannot regrow and reintegrate. But I've seen plenty of times hypericum have a fantastic, amazing ability to help with nerves. People have got issues surrounding hypericum because it's touted and it's famous as an antidepressant, and a lot of people who are coming perhaps with anxiety or some kind of nervous tension don't like the idea that they're taking an antidepressant. But I cannot state enough how hypericum is not an antidepressant at all. It doesn't work like that. It's an incredible sunny sunshine, like drinking liquid sunshine herb. And like the chamomile, it's got strong bitter elements to it, so stimulating the digestion and supporting your liver. And the liver is our largest organ in the body, and it's our chemical plant, processing plant, and to have that looked after and nourished is incredibly important. And lastly, these are my pumpkin seeds. So we had lots and lots of pumpkins and squashes this year, and I've just scraped them out and dried them. They're really nutty and gorgeous. But you can buy pumpkin seeds in most health food shops. And they're really important because of the omega fatty acids. And the herbs are great, amazing medicines. But food is ultimately important. And what you are eating is determining how the rest of your body, your terrain, acts. And having oils, having decent omega fats in your diet is incredibly important, because all of our cells, our cell membranes, which is the wall of our cells, are made up of these fatty lipid bilayer it's called. It's these fatty acids. So we need them. They're completely integral and really important to our health. So eat really healthily, and by that, the least amount of processed food possible. Loads of fresh fruit and vegetables and nuts. Limit the amount of caffeine you drink if you're having any kind of nervous ailment going on, especially if you can't sleep or have any kind of nerve pains going on. Try and limit caffeine, which is incredibly difficult to do because it's a very addictive drug. Also limit things like the dark chocolate. You see, I can feel my whole system's quite hyper because of the dark chocolate. And drink plenty of water. I'm Karen and I work with Fiona, and www.sensorysolutions.co.uk is our website, and we teach sensory herbcraft, which is elemental herbalism, getting people to tap into their innate, their own intuitive processes and powers of observation to work out what all of these plants do, so we can all be our own healers. Thank you very much for listening.